All right. Early. All right, everybody, ready to get started? I think we got our technology stuff lined up. Nobody is with us on Zoom yet, so. All right, I'll go ahead and call to order the April 11th, 2024 regular town council meeting for the town of Tallulah Falls, and we will begin with a moment of silence. And I would like to add an amendment to our agenda, which would be under new business line item E, a budget amendment for Norcup and Gorgeview. If I can get a motion to amend the agenda, Scott makes the motion.
Second.
Mike seconds, all in favor? It's unanimous. All right, and then I need to get a motion to approve the agenda as amended. Scott makes the motion. Jimmy seconds, all in favor? Unanimous. All right, get a motion to approve the consent agenda. Scott makes the motion. Jimmy seconds, all in favor? Unanimous. An attorney report? None. None, no attorney report? We have no old business. So we will go ahead and move on to our new business items. The first on the list is Raymond Sploss. Raymond County would like to renew the,
Do we have to approve the consent agenda?
did I not? Yeah,
You did.
Did I do that?
You made a motion.
Yeah, we made a motion. Moving so fast.
I apologize.
That's fine. And we did pull an item off of, one of the reports and put it into our regular agenda items, so, if that was what you were wondering about.
And we didn't have water, fire.
And we didn't have water and fire this month, unfortunately. I was watching an eclipse. So, all right, so Raven County wants to renew the SPOS. In order to do that, they would like to, have it on the ballot this November. And, so we're in the beginning phases of that. So what we need to do is kind of come up with how we want to present the items we would like to have listed for us on SPOS as general of terms as possible. And then kind of break down an idea of what percentages we want to apply to what item, what category. So based on some of our conversations, it looks like what we would probably benefit from would be to do something for gateway signage. I don't know if y'all have seen our signs lately, but they're starting to kind of look a little rough around the edges on the end of town. So do some gateway signage, continue to do water system improvements. Do some public facilities renovations, like for this building, we still have some work that we could do. We've also got the rock house we're working on, we can include it in there. And then the other category, I would probably lump three things together, where Linda has listed on my sheet she gave me is roads and bridges, right-of-way drainage improvements, and sidewalks, and just kind of, if we could incorporate all that into one group, then we would have 1, 2, 3, 4 items listed. Unless y'all have other things you'd like to focus on. SPOS has to be capital improvement projects, so you can't do any maintenance or upgrade, or can't do maintenance items, but you can't put it into.
We don't know the value of it or anything like that.
Roughly 300,000.
So last, in the 2019, it was based on 19 million and we got 220. They're based now at 25 million. I'll get them you closer to about 3. That's what I'm guessing. It depends on how many tier 1 projects that the county has.
And one of,
They figure the percentages.
yeah, one of the things that we kind of we decided to kind of sidestep is most people put public safety in there, but since we've got another source for public safety funding, I think it might be wise to focus on some other stuff.
Be good to focus on the water.
Yeah.
So we got a percentage towards the water.
Yeah, and that would be the next thing is what kind of percentages y'all would have to. Because once we get we'll have to do some negotiating, that 300,000, we might be able to get a little bit more. But so if we have some percentages, then we can plug in numbers.
And it still has to be voted for, I mean, you know.
At
everybody
the-
has- Yeah.
The November election, so it may or may not pass.
Well, and then typically your project list is wish list.
Yeah.
And then as things roll off, don't need it, you kind of reallocate among your wish list. So
What about and I don't know if we can apply this or have this connected to SPOS, but where do we stand on the handicap kayak launch? I mean, last I heard, we were like $10,000, $20,000 shy.
I don't think we're that shy. That is, that's gonna be a state project. And the dock itself, that portion of it seems to be pretty well covered. It is in the process of getting engineering studies done that FERC requires for Georgia Power, and the Georgia Power has to get their engineering studies done. And I was told that there wouldn't be anything done on it until after they finish the dam project over here, because they have to keep lowering
There's no city costs associated with that.
not at
No,
all.
that's all
Yeah, we're-
state and Georgia Power.
It's all state. We looked at trying to help out, but because it's not city property,
No-
it's difficult for us to participate, even though we support it. It's just financially, it's hard for us to participate with SPOS funding. So, because we did look at it, because we do have some money for Parks and Recreation from a previous SPOS we haven't used yet. So,
And in the past budget, did we allocate some budget towards to the signs?
To the signs, no.
We never did. Okay, we're still waiting on the quote or something.
yeah, we're waiting for someone to bring us some
Okay.
dollar figures,
I
so,
think the business association was maybe talking about.
yeah, that or DEA or somebody was gonna look into it.
Okay.
Maybe it fell off their radar. So, I saw the one on the north end of town, trees hit it,
Mhm.
I didn't realize how,
Somebody cut it though.
yeah, they cleaned it up, so I'm glad they did.
Yeah.
So Linda, you need some percentages based on the different capital.
We need to identify what our list is
Yeah.
and then try to
Yeah.
figure out,
Well, the signs are a good one. It's a capital improvement job, but I mean, you would only need probably around 5% of the 15,000 or less,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, definitely less
So-
than.
if we,
We're
if it
assuming,
costs less, then we can always.
Yeah, we're
move
assuming
to
it's
one of our
300,000. okay, so somebody probably keep it written down for you.
Yeah, so gateway signage, we'll put at 5%.
Fill in. but that's about it.
You want to hear?
We have to do it on YouTube.
it just kind of stopped working.
Oh,
YouTube says it's working now. All right, okay, so 75, 20, and 5, and we're gonna not do anything on public facilities renovations, which is fine. I think we actually have a little bit left over.
A little.
And the main thing on that is this front door. We really need to find someone, we've struggled finding someone to do a new storefront for us that has handicap. Access
That
to
door
that door.
is so heavy,
Yeah.
people that don't.
Van has a hard time with it.
There's a lot, even people that aren't, you know, in a wheelchair. or
Well, do
anything,
you
it's
need
just
more
such-
funds allocated towards it to do it? Is there any kind of budget
I don't think so.
or?
And I think where we can get a quote.
Bill tried for several years. I've tried a couple of times. It's hard to find someone, because they have to drive all the way up here from Atlanta when you find someone, so,
Now, we've got somebody,
okay, that'd be great. Because if we can get the
two
handicap,
options.
yeah, if we can get that with handicap paddle, well, they'll have to replace the whole thing. We don't know, not wanting to retrofit what's there. We're wanting to replace the whole thing. And I think we've got it. Five, yeah, they're 5,000, so.
Think that's
But we
gonna
might be
enough?
able to move something to that spot, you know.
From
in-
another.
from public safety.
Isn't that public safety?
Could be.
I
I
mean,
mean, but within the
handicap
spots where
access
we
and-
have
and-
that, we might can move. some
Handicap
from-
getting in and out of the building if something were to happen, that would definitely be public safety.
All right, sounds like we're covered then.
Yeah, so I think I'm going, so we don't necessarily need that to put that in this SPOS as a takeaway.
Right.
All right, do we need an official vote on
How far down the process are we with negotiations?
that? We just started.
So
We had our first meeting, and we're supposed to be giving them our list. And then they're gonna develop an intergovernmental agreement.
So the intergovernmental agreement, we will have to vote on.
yeah, I don't know that you need to have a full vote on this.
That's a good change.
Yeah, I mean,
Possibly, we may need to change it.
just that's the wish list, so to speak, for purposes of discussing the intergovernmental agreement.
Yeah, for us to give them something to start working with.
And then it'll come back to us.
Then we agree to sign it, or agree for you to sign it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And that'll probably end up with dollar figures attached at some point. So,
If y'all want to do a motion for preliminary discussion purposes to authorize them to submit the list, then that way, if I'm wrong, we've already done
And I don't think it hurts
it. It
anything.
doesn't hurt anything.
Okay, I make a motion to blah, blah, blah.
Let's do that.
So Craig makes the motion. Do I have a second?
I can't.
Right, Mike seconds, all in favor,
Oh,
unanimous, all right. All right, good deal. Now that Tanya is, Tanya is back with us. We need to, discuss a budget amendment to our special revenue fund for basically two projects. Kind of need to get you to present your ideas. I'd go with the graduation
And
idea.
the first project, I went to the high school and taught situational awareness to the graduating senior girls. In lieu of things that's been happening.
And in light of, Lake and Riley, that was killed at UGA, that's kind of spurred this, and even both the counties have done some of these situational awareness classes, and so, and kind of in lieu of that.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to give the girls something, some type of personal protection, just, and it might not be much, but like, I know a lot of them are going to college, they're gonna be out running and jogging, I've talked about all that, and there's a company, it's called She-Bird, and they have a little, key alarm system, just a little small device, you can pull it open, screams real loud, gets people's attention, kind of, digital way to keep people away from them. I wanted to present them something to have from, the town, just to know that we care about them, we're here. Schools are a huge part of our town, and the girls and the boys and all them, they're try to stay up there, make sure they're safe, and just want to give them a little something to them. A lot of them don't think about it, a lot of them maybe couldn't afford it, or that it's something we could give and they don't have to use. It's something they can recharge, it's not a one-time use, so they'll be able to keep it lit on, keep it charged up.
Yeah, and Tanya, when she brought it up to me to put on the agenda, I asked her if it would be something we'd also like to do and make available for anyone, any of our residents, if they would like one, we would help cover, we would cover the cost of
What
that.
are we looking at? What kind of cost per unit?
If they send me a thing, I think for the, I'm gonna get 100, because I know we have around 50 girls. It's gonna be around $2,400 to $2,500,
Yeah, you got,
close to 2,500.
This is kind of like the fire department. We have smoke detectors that we can go put in people's homes if they need them. And this would just be another safety device that we
It
could.
saves one life.
so you got the 3,000 allocated, so that's what, okay, I got you.
Because they literally just sent me an invoice while we were sitting here to know the exact amount, and it's around close to 2,500.
So that would come out of the public safety fund.
We just got them in the budget for it.
So that's one of the,
One of
one of the
the-
items.
You have to do them in the,
No, we'll do them all together.
No, we'll do them all.
okay, I got you.
Then the next one was, the next one we talked about, I talked with, Warren, he's comfortable with us being able to move forward with it. Based on the idea that we have to provide law enforcement services to the school and unit. And the next item that Tanya would like for us to pursue would help her up her game and be able to provide better services more efficiently at the school. So, I don't know a whole lot about what that's gonna entail, but I know it's gonna involve some more equipment at the school, so.
Yeah, I want to replace all the cameras at the schools. I use them daily to look and make sure people in and out of campus, the safety of the kids. There's a lot of things going on in schools today, and it's pretty scary. People that can walk on and on. The new system, I'd be able to go in and say if somebody walked on campus or near campus with the cameras and they had on a red hat, type in red hat, cameras would pull up that person. You could track them exactly where they were.
I'm here too.
Yeah, and we're also able, to put cameras here. Only Linda and I will be able to access those. I know that we have cameras to be able to see who's coming in and out. Also cameras going to the new police department, and only we will have access for that.
So I think the bottom one on that was
130.
130.
And the school was partnering in a sense there, so the 130 covers your capital outlay of the campus. The school is gonna be doing the installation and any kind of ongoing maintenance and the licensing fees and stuff that recurs. This is capital outlay for cameras. And, you know, the statute on this, it's coming from the revenue fund, and we've talked about this before, but for the two of you, maybe weren't here when we did, I mean, so ordinarily, with SPOS dollars and tax revenue, you can't spend that for a private entity. School is a private entity. In this particular case, it is a revenue source that is in the nature of fines and forfeitures. The statute says that you can use it for public safety and law enforcement initiatives, as far as it goes. And so what does that mean? And how do you square that with other provisions of the law? You know, the simple answer is nobody really knows. The statute will give you a clear answer.
So if we own the equipment, you utilize it for law enforcement.
We're owning the equipment. So on the one, you know, I mean, the way I'm looking at this, you know, if y'all agree with this perspective, right, is the school is an entity that's located in the town. Therefore, they're within our law enforcement jurisdiction. We are legally obligated to provide law enforcement services to the school, no different than we would be to, you know, any of your houses. Right? The problem is that there is an increased need for that because schools tend to be a magnet or target for these types of things. So the initiative here is really to provide Tanya with the ability to do her job better. we're already required to do that job. So if she's saying it helps her, then that's the way I'm kind of looking at this.
I've got two questions. These are both campuses. Okay. And who has the recorded material from these students?
It'll all be stored with the ID department. The Fair campus?
So who owns, so that, good question, right? I mean, so in other words, would it be our data though?
Beyond on the equipment that we, is just, I think it's just not getting installed that we purchased for the school to.
And are we liable if somebody were to access that data because we don't have it here?
What is our cybersecurity insurance? Do you know anything about that or do you have it?
Do you have it?
It is. I mean,
It is, it would technically be our equipment. That may be something we have to figure out. Maybe something we need to work out a MOU.
We probably need some type of agreement that lays out who's doing what.
And are we assured that it's gonna be, I know you can't, nothing's 100%, but what about hacking? I mean, what if a student who's pretty smart decides that they want access to it?
If they're at that school, they're pretty smart.
Well, I know that.
So, I think that's something we probably need to put in where the school kind of indemnifies us.
We have to put it there for clearly schools
That
responsible.
the school would be responsible
That's all.
to indemnify us.
And is there a written agreement that we own the campus?
I think we have that part, at least an understanding, but I don't know that we ever finalized a formal agreement yet. Because we were waiting for equipment to get worked up, so we knew what all we're getting, so I'm still waiting for serial numbers and a bunch of other stuff like
So wait a minute,
that.
the equipment's already been ordered?
The equipment was ordered and they've been working on putting it together, they just need to get me.
The other.
Oh, no,
the
no,
last
other
time.
equipment, sorry,
You're thinking
not the
about-
cameras.
No.
The server, the new server and that equipment, yeah, that stuff we,
Yeah.
yeah, sorry. So,
We didn't buy the service, did we?
the server has been ordered, I don't know if it's been.
Have we paid for the server?
I think so.
With the first thing that we approved for this, doing the Omega technology through the school, I don't know what all that included exactly, but
There was some basic equipment that needed to, that was gonna be the backbone of the system.
right,
That has been,
that's done.
that's been ordered and
That's
been
been
worked.
paid for.
It's been paid for. I wrote a check, I remember signing a check.
Was that part of the alarms,
The announcement.
communication?
Announcement, yeah, that was the beginning, that was phase one of that was a 2-phase, now this has turned into a 3-phase system, so, but that's the brain of this system that needed to be done first. And then we're gonna start, we can be able to plug
Is this
peripherals.
equipment coming from Omega?
They're speccing it in order, yes.
Do we need 3 quotes?
It's more than 100,000.
The first was not, no, the initial was.
But you just told us it's 150,000.
That's 130, so we may need to,
We have to get the quotes.
may have to get quotes on that one.
It depends on what's in that quote, because if it's individual things that all add up to that, then it's, is the 100,000, correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, if you've got multiple things within the same quote, that doesn't necessarily push you over
I
that.
think that's right, and also the 100,000 cap at normally triggers on the public works
Public works,
contracts and
right.
stuff, so I mean, look back at what those limits are for purposes of this. You know, if that were a public school, even though owned by the Board of Ed and a different entity than us, right, there's no question we would do an intergovernmental beyond the legislative question, no question as to the legal liability of doing an intergovernmental agreement with the school or something like this. And then the question becomes whether we need to get quotes, do things like that. The only kind of wrinkle is because it's private school. Now, there are some exceptions to that. For example, it's private school that we have cameras for school zone, that's allowed. I mean, they're regularly in schools, that's not an issue, but so then the question is how do we fund it? And it may be that what we need to do is look at quoting the bidding requirements. And may need to have some, fact finding on that. But it's things that are sort of, they would be no brainers in the sense that I don't think there's a serious dispute that schools are targeted. But to include some of that. I think for tonight's purposes, what we're trying to do was determine if this is a path we wanted to go before we kind of did that.
Yeah, so we can make a motion with the clauses, with the stipulations on.
Or do we need to have a motion today and wait until that information now comes back?
We
And
probably,
table it.
so I can try to find that out. And didn't realize we were actually purchasing it. If we do need bidding requirements, you really couldn't prove the purchase of it tonight, but I don't know right now if we do or not.
I think tonight it would be to amend the budget to allow for that, but then, yeah, we may need to come back so that we could go ahead and get the little alert things.
Oh, well, that's,
That's,
yeah,
We can Go
that's
ahead
not,
and do that,
confident that's below.
yeah, that's not an issue.
right,
Again, I
but then,
just,
yeah, come back and.
We
let's
got
get
a
more
lot. We
Information,
have several questions that aren't answered.
right, and come back and,
And the data breach and the liability is probably my biggest concern.
right,
Well, and then that may also be a conversation to have with the insurance company. Because you're right, I mean, this is something they present on every year at the city attorney seminar. What happened is, in Fulton County recently just got hacked when they took down all the systems. So public entities are targets for hacking.
that is one of the nice things about having it separate from the town stuff is if it does get hacked, the ransomware, it's not affecting the town's ability to do stuff, so having that separation does help.
Well, then I also wonder about a backup though. I mean, should we back that data here also?
Probably could,
Just leave that up.
we need to work something out with law enforcement, because anything subject to a law enforcement investigation isn't gonna be, like Linda and I can't really have access to that.
Well,
So we need to have a way to do that that's secure from a law enforcement perspective.
Can we own the server and just have a lease for $1 essentially? So that we have control over the space?
That's sort of what we were gearing toward. It wasn't for at least for $1, it was that, we own the equipment. But the understanding was that the trade-off, the quid pro quo was that they maintained, kept it secure and managed it for us over there. So, and then we had access to it for our needs as well. So that's kind of that trade-off. So that we were getting a return for what we were putting into it, plus some other things that we have.
will the additional cameras give them more coverage than they currently have today? So for example, the, possibly looking at the ball fields, the farm,
The roads.
yeah.
Now. The gates.
You gotta cover that campus is Swiss cheese of ways you can get in without, so having camera coverage, watching even the tree line. So that if someone's coming in and they don't come through a gate, you got something. So I'm sure that's gonna cover a lot of that too.
Some of the cameras they have now, like where they have 2 or 3 cameras to cover one one section, we have one camera that rotates and will cover all that, so kind of fit.
The issue for the school is you got a 4-lane going through 2 campuses. The lower and middle school is a sitting duck. Anything to protect everybody, particularly those younger kids, we are in a very precarious position
No place to.
because of the location of that school and right on a major thoroughfare that's getting more and more crowded.
Right.
I could give you a horror story where I'm lucky to be alive today because of someone who came on our campus and a 7th grade boy told me he was armed before I went up to ask what he was doing. He's serving a life sentence now in Tennessee for murder. But it started on our campus. So anything, you don't want to make the news, but anything to protect a very significant population that lives here. 130 of our residents live in 2 dorms, a girls and a boys dorm. We've got a very wide open with now the lodge turned into a lower middle school. So the school just needs security anyway and help for security because, yeah, we would, in a way, I hate to say it, are an easy target.
Even when they have track and field events over there in the old hay fields,
Yeah.
it's really, that would be an easy in and out.
Well,
Someone
and
could hit that.
that's what I was trying to say, it's the cross-country area. I mean,
Right.
that,
So if we could hit areas like that too, that's.
And
and, you know, it's surrounded by woods.
And we gotta keep in mind that almost every year, we've got at least one, if not multiple, students that attend school there that are residents in our town too, so.
I don't think the question's here whether or not we want to approve it or not. I think
No,
it's
it's
more-
how do we do
It's
it?
how do we, how do we protect, how do we protect the town and
Yeah, no,
take the data?
I'm not opposed to this.
Right.
So I don't know, do we need to make a motion now to make it move forward, to clarify?
I just say, let's amend the budget, let's make a motion to amend the budget,
So
approve
handles the funds.
approve that, and then we need to still get answers on this other issue before.
Well,
we-
and I'm concerned again, because we're testing the waters for that additional budget, that I want to make sure everything is done according the way it should be.
Not all the
So-
others and-
Absolutely, that, you know, they can point finger, all right, well, that money shouldn't, and then, well, not only didn't we follow it, but then we did this and this. So
Right,
I just want to make sure everything's buttoned up.
that makes complete sense.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. You know, and we've been sort of trying to figure this.
I know.
We've talked about this in the past, and the problem is that statute's so new. And they stuck in the phrase public safety or law enforcement initiatives without defining what that is and having parameters.
Drawn.
You know, generally increase security, for example, to private entity, that's usually the responsibility of the private entity. But if it's something that we are having to do legally anyway, so, you know, Tanya is gonna be the one that has to sort of go into the situation.
How many calls do you make to the school in a year?
I have to look, I don't know if they're on a regular basis.
Well, I know, and I see that, you know.
And then the question becomes, what can you use it for? So like, I mean, is it gonna be used purely for law enforcement purposes, which I think weighs more in that favor? Or what about, could it be used for school discipline that does not rise to the level of law enforcement? Stuff that starts to sort of swing the other way.
It does.
But if it's something that we own that furthers her ability to do it, then
The biggest concern is not within, it's without. Is contact with the
sure.
Right.
outside of the students.
Well,
That's always our operation. We can handle internally, but protect them from the outside.
And, you know, it's possible that other areas in the state will look to us, because we're now setting a precedent with this fund.
Right, so we need to
So
make it.
make sure it's done properly, right? That was all I'm saying.
We probably need more paperwork than a voice vote.
Yeah. So.
So I think you can amend the budget. Hope that I mean, shows there's some seriousness, and then I'm clear on my marching orders to paperwork.
Okay.
Well, I'll make a motion.
And then there's a couple other things in the budget amendment, the money for the active shooter,
And the thermal.
Oh, yeah.
and then,
Yeah, I forgot about that.
and then also for outfitting the cars, what we had in the original budget wasn't quite enough, so that's 81 and 82 respectively.
So,
Okay, so something that we're talking about, the thermal imaging cameras is something I've actually wanted the police department to have access to all along, like for several years. I've always thought it'd be a good idea for them to have some kind of thermal imaging camera in their vehicle, since that would be the first one to respond to any emergency. Now, the reason Tanya wants it slightly different, but it still works for the same thing. The idea being that we have a smoke alarm and fire alarm at school go off, they'd be able to take one of these in, scan the wall, and then say, yeah, there's nothing, y'all can cancel, or, oh my gosh, something's going on, pick it up. So, but then also they had a search the other day, missing person, and could have used,
Yeah, to be able to have that, they were in the woods, we've probably been able to see them a lot faster.
But you
Yeah.
can use it for everybody.
Yeah, everything.
the drone, doesn't the drone also offer thermal imaging?
It does, but if, like, say I had that, I can literally get out,
this preliminary, this is the first
do,
first initial response, and if that doesn't work, then the drone's coming and do a broader search.
Is it the same type of equipment that the fire department could use to see if there's anyone in a home or anything on fire?
I don't know
Or
if
is it
that
different?
particular type or the other type we're looking at really wouldn't, what the fire department really needs is something that can enter into a hostile environment. So we need something a little more specialized. And we've got one imaging camera that's kind of outdated and we're gonna look at upgrading at some point, but
That's what
the thing we've got now is so huge and it's it's heavy.
Yeah.
It's almost like carrying around a CRT, old cathode ray tube.
it's an antique.
Yeah, so it still does its job though. But anyway, yeah,
Okay.
what you want for the fire department is something that's a little more intrinsically safe. It's built for a harsher environment. It can take getting flooded with water. You need a slightly more advanced piece of equipment than what they would need.
What was the
So
value on the thermal imaging? You had 7,500 here, but you were saying 8,100 each.
No, that was for the cars.
the cars, we think we can get those cameras down
I think I can
around
get them
500 to 600 a piece. So I'd say $1,200 total for that.
So
What's in
would
here
both-
is,
Both vehicles then would have one?
so,
And like I said, that's something I'd actually wanted for a long time,
Can we use it for lost dogs?
We need to make a motion
but possibly.
to amend the budget 142, 300.
With the stipulation that the camera
Yeah.
part of it, we still have more to go on. That's not an approval to go ahead and purchase.
Amending the budget's not approved, but no, just amending the budget. Okay,
All right, fine. So Craig,
the value, do you need it exact?
no, just do it as presented.
Okay, I'll make a motion to amend the budget
that's presented.
as presented.
All right, Scott seconds, all in favor, unanimous? All right. Okay, and speaking of budget, we need to, start working on getting our budget pulled together and approved, so we need to pick a date to do a workshop later this month. I think our workshop date's already been set aside, but we can always move it or change it. That's what the
25th.
Thursday night, the 25th. Everybody's available at 6 o'clock
Workshop.
to have a workshop, budget workshop. Yeah. All department heads have your budget stuff in before them. Or all two of us, three of us.
25th works for me.
Well, okay. Scott,
It's good for me. I'm just curious. It says the evening of the arts. Are you, I guess you're open, huh?
We may have to leave at 7. Quick meeting.
okay.
Good for you.
We shouldn't be making any final decisions.
That's what it-
Like,
Yeah.
we'll still have to have a public hearing
Yeah.
and vote at some other point. This is the kickoff.
Okay, and then when would we want to do, if we're gonna adopt the budget in June, have to do a public hearing at least a week prior, but it can be, it could be in May. It doesn't have to be exactly the week, it just has to be at least a week.
When is our May meeting?
May meeting is
Ninth or 16th?
the night.
So we could have our, public hearing on the ninth.
Yeah.
And then advertise the adoption for the June meeting and then adopt it at the June meeting. If the budget goes.
As long as we can do it all in one workshop.
Yeah, in that one workshop.
So give me, I know the workshop's the 25th. What was the other date then?
May 9th would be our regular meeting, but we'd have the budget,
We
the
just
public
do it all
hearing.
then.
You would have the public hearing on the 9th and then we'd have our,
Adopt in June.
adopt. We have to advertise a week in advance and adopt at our June meeting. And that would kind of give us a little bit of buffer because if something came up and we couldn't do everything by the line,
Workshop.
we could create we could do a special called meeting for a public hearing later, a little bit later in May, as long as we still had enough time to advertise. before-
Now I have to advertise the public hearing.
Oh, the public hearing, okay.
Would it help to have a meeting 16?
But you have to advertise that a week, at least a week in advance.
Just meaning, yeah, the public hearing has to be at least a week before where you adopt.
Okay, so if something happens at our budget workshop on the 25th, then we can bump back and have a special, we could create a special meeting that night.
Yeah.
If we needed to.
Okay.
And then have a meeting.
But as of right now, we plan on the 9th being our public hearing.
Okay.
So,
What day is the June meeting? Sorry. I
The
usually have
13th.
been here.
The 13th.
Okay.
so if we have the worst, then
And then go smoothly.
yeah, I mean,
But yeah, you have to have that in there.
yeah, Monday.
We'd have to know that the 25th, that everything was gonna go forward, we weren't gonna have to change, drastically change anything.
What time is your workshop?
6 o'clock. One thing I would like to keep in mind, it's kind of very tentative, but since we've got some things settled down and I would like to start at least preparing for talking about millage rate going, well, I want to get millage rate back to 6 mils at some point. We've got to wait for some assessments to come in and some other stuff. So it may not happen this year, but I'd like to see if by next year we could tighten some things in, like.
Are you talking about Warren?
Attorney's fees, if we can reduce that a good bit, we can get back to that six mil if we can. I'd like to get there. So. Just something to keep. So. All right, next will be our, LMIG. I forget who sent it to us, but, basically they opened up an extra, for us, we got an extra $20,000 of, extra funding that we do not have to match grant money from DOT or somebody.
Which is more than what we normally get in LA.
Yes. So, I don't know if we need to,
Well, we just needed to identify a project and I think
We're done.
I think we've already done that.
And we'll use the 2025 LMIG to add to that, make it happen. Okay.
All right, so, all right, and then on the other, I'd like to do get a motion to amend the budget. Norcup Road, several years ago, the resident that lives on, that has a house on that road has asked that we bring some gravel in. Because the road right now is just grass and mud. We haven't really, maintained it.
The road is used for a through road to get to the
To
tank.
get to the tank, it's part of our water access easement.
So we have gravel
We're not just doing
up
something.
at the garage. Do we have?
Yeah, but that wouldn't be enough for this, so, so we need that, and then gorge view from, kind of as you make it to that curve, you start to go up to the tank, which is where the easement begins. That has been washed out because the culverts got, covered in, and we weren't really, I wasn't watching it real close, I wasn't even thinking about it. And that heavy rain that we had earlier this year has really washed that road out. So that one needs a little more TLC, fix it up. So the total, I got a quick quote from Sean, who had done all the work before, and he said about 5,500 would cover all of that. So I'd like to amend the budget to allow for that. So to go ahead and get him, cut him loose, let him get those two projects taken care of.
That was public safety.
That would not likely be public safety. It would be
Maintenance.
road maintenance and possibly water related. But it's mostly be road maintenance, I would think. So,
It's just the access to the
And we-
water tank.
yeah, and we've got some, I think we've got some some T-splosh or something with the.
We still have SPOS funding we can use. The amended budget, right? Is that where we?
Yeah, I mean, what do we want to pull this from?
I'd say let's move SPOS.
Do we have some road splosh?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just need to get a new number from you on it, but yeah.
If we're spreading gravel,
But that's not really capital.
Is it not?
We can use, no.
Oh, you can't use it for road, you can't use it for maintenance. Oh, that's correct. I
It's just
forgot
gonna
about
have to
that.
be just straight up road maintenance.
Yes.
what about, we need more gravel over at the,
The cul-de-sac area?
no, well, no, we're okay there. No, I'm saying right here in town, I don't know what we call it. You know, where the kayak launches or right there. There's
Yeah, we've,
gravel there, but it's getting really bad.
I don't know.
yeah, we really need, I need to get someone to look at that, because we need to really. We need to cut into that and readdress the pull off and some other, so we've got some park and recreation money that we can use for that. Like even making something that makes it easier to get the boats into the water, right there.
You gotta run it through Georgia Power.
But some of that we're gonna run through Georgia Power.
Anything you do to the shoreline.
Actually, technically, we're gonna do a lot of it through Georgia Power, since we don't don't think it's our property. So we would have to talk to them.
That's another problem. Pretty sure it's not our property.
But I can at least begin the process.
I just thought if Sean was doing gravel, that even a load of
Yeah.
gravel there will make a difference. But
I'm sure they'd be fine us to put gravel there. We just have to approach.
If we made any major accommodations, so, yeah, I've been talking to Georgia Power quite a bit lately about some other issues. And, they're pretty happy with the way things are moving. So they would probably be amenable to help us or allow us to do something, but we have to run through the proper channels. We want to build something over there. So maybe even cutting it out. But I would like, yeah, we do need to do something about the way people pull off so they can get completely off the road with a
We'll
trail.
do, I'll take a look at it so we can draw something up, because you gotta submit it to them for approval.
Yeah, we have to.
It's their property and their shoreline. And if they approve it, then we can allocate some funds to try to go to the forward. So we probably need to
yeah,
just
I
draw.
mean, the
some-
season's almost here, so.
Yeah, I'm with you. And it's scary.
All right, so, can I get a motion to amend the budget? Scott makes the motions, Mike seconds, all in favor, unanimous. No real mayor's comments at this time, so we'll go ahead and open the floor for public comment. Do we have anybody? Nobody? Nobody on Zoom, so David?
Wayne County Water and Sewer Authority made the headlines of the local paper. Fairly self-explanatory article. If anybody has any questions or anything, wants to know anything about the projects or anything that they're doing, I'd be happy to do what I can to tell you, but, I think it's pretty up to date on what's going on. It'll be, in my opinion, a few months of angst as this process goes forward, and there's gonna be a lot of heartburn, probably, but we'll get through it. So. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Terry Dobbs, in case I'm not here for the budget stuff, and the, y'all are talking about the roads, part of the upper part of Pickering, that's got too big. Washington issue probably there, big holes in the road.
Yeah, I think we're planning on taking care of
I
that.
blame that on water.
That's water department's fault.
Talk to him right there.
But anyway, just
I'll
in
get
case
there
I'm
and get
not
some jig.
at any of the budget meetings, I'm sure it's already on your list, but
I'm tempted to just go ahead and get some of that
not when they.
asphalt, the bag and go up there and
We
just.
just need to batch it.
I've got a tamper, I can go up there and do that there. I kept waiting, because we've got some paving that's
We're
supposed
supposed
to
to
be
have
done.
paving, but I can't get the gentleman to show up, so.
And he's gonna have some offcasts, so he'd be able to go.
He was
up
gonna
there.
go up there and do that whole, I did that paving area, so. But if I can't get him fixed on a date this month, we'll jump up there and try. We gotta
You're right, we need, it's getting to a point, we got a nice sharp edges to put that patch stuff in, and it's starting to crumble.
It's GAB.
Yeah, so,
Gotcha.
anyway. All right, anything else? Then I need a motion to go into executive session for potential litigation, property acquisition, and personnel. So Scott makes that motion, Mike seconds, all in favor, unanimous? All right,
You want us to send popcorn and just?
barbecue. Or go to TA and open a tab real quick.